Welcome back to the channel, folks, and we continue on with the Menosaur series here today. And this guy is the winner of this wave for the weirdest, not the weirdest. Okay, breakdown, you're not the weirdest. So what are you? I'm the most dynamic. Okay, so we have the winner here for the most dynamic mold used in this wave. It's really the weirdest mold. Let's get right into the next part of the Menosaur series. Let's take a look at Combiner Wars Deluxe Class Breakdown. Okay, folks, welcome back to the channel. This is your host, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot, and as always, I'm going to ask you to check me out across social media. I'm going to ask you to check out my first novel, The Everything Factor, and I'm going to ask you to check out Machinery of Man, the next installment of that series, soon going up within the next week or so. So if you haven't jumped on board yet, it's a good time to do so. And I said that this is the weirdest mold. Breakdown says he's the most dynamic mold. It's been used, it's a mold that's been used for Sunstreaker. I already did a review of the Universe Sunstreaker mold and kind of used this guy as a comparison. I can see what they were going for with Sunstreaker. I don't know if it really works that well. I think the Unite Warriors version works better for Sunstreaker. It's also been used recently for Wheeljack, with a lot of remolded parts, and he looks excellent in car mode. A lot of missing paint apps, especially black paint apps in robot mode for that figure. Enough that I'm not getting the Sunstreaker, I'm not getting the Wheeljack. I don't need this mold a bunch of times, and we're going to run through the breakdown version to see why I don't need this mold a bunch of times. Paint apps, I'm giving him a 10. Maybe it's not perfectly accurate, but it is breakdown colors, and I love them. I think they look fantastic on him. He looks great in robot mode. He looks great in car mode. He looks great in the modes for the limbs. I love the red on the face. I mean, that's a very breakdown head sculpt. It's a perfect head sculpt, I think. I love the placement of the silver. There probably should be a little more blue. I like the silver on the toes. Again, maybe it should be up on the legs. I think the Unite Warriors version uses a very similar paint scheme, but does it in such a way that it's a little more animation accurate. We have the, and I haven't spoken about this with the other reviews so far, but we have the G2 set. I think it's up for pre-orders now. I don't know if it's actually out in retail as of this recording, but it's certainly up for pre-order. And you know, with that one, as far as Blackjack goes, where he's purple in regular retail, he's basically a teal color. Where he's black or really dark gray in regular retail, he's basically a shiny. No, wait. Where he's purple in regular retail, he's kind of a teal color. Yeah. Where he's black in regular retail, he's kind of a shiny purple. Dead End is pretty much the same color, a few minor changes. It's sort of, Dead End is sort of the same story as Ear Raid, where there are some changes, but he still basically looks like himself. Then you have no off-road in that set. So if you want off-road, you have to find the retail version, and he's a great figure. And Wild Rider in that, you know, or Breakneck in that, you know, set is basically kind of colored like drag strip should be. A lot of, you know, yellow where the gray is on the online exclusive version, and some teal, I think, where the red is on the retail version. It doesn't really, you know, look breakneck slash wild rider-ish, but it is what it is. I would say that he is very similar to Quickslinger, where the color scheme is way different. Then we come to this guy in the G2 set, where this guy is kind of a off-white cream color. He's really bright teal in the box set. Where he's blue here, it's basically that shiny metallic looking purple. I like this color scheme better. If you like the G2 one, hey, great. As soon as this mold came out, I knew it was going to become Sunstreaker because of this hand-foot piece that goes on the back. It really looks like the engine block for Sunstreaker. So I see where they were going with it. But in terms of Breakdown himself, like I said, paint apps overall, I'm giving a 10 to. I think they look fantastic. It looks great on him. Posability, playability. In car mode, he rolls well. Again, there's a little bit of hindrance because of not a lot of clearance. He's a great leg. He's a great arm. And then we come to his robot mode. Well, in robot mode, you know, the head goes left and right and down a little bit, not really up. The arms can go all the way around 360. There's, you know, because of transformation, there's a very deep elbow bend. There's a swivel in the arm because of the, you know, joint here at the elbow, and that's a hinge, a ratchet, even though it doesn't really ratchet, and a ball joint. No wrist. There is a waist or a lower pelvis swivel. There are knees that go 90 degrees. That's nice. There's, you know, a toe tilt forward because of transformation. There's a heel spur, and I guess that also flips back, if that's any use to you. Now we get to the two really weird parts for this guy. His hips. If you look in here, you see that his hips spread apart, and I mean they give him a great range, but the problem is they're very, you know, wibbly wobbly. I guess he could be a good dancer, but I don't find that they're that stable, which is exactly why I do not want the Sunstreaker or the Wheeljack version of this mold. I personally don't like the hips. Some people do. I don't. And then his knees, besides for being able to bend 90 degrees this way, also because of transformation they can do, I don't know, is that, you know, we've seen this before. Classic Sunstreaker does a similar sort of thing, you know, where he can do that. If you can balance him, he can do that crane yoga Tai Chi balance pose, I guess. You know, it's a joint you have, but it's a weird one. So posability, playability. I guess I'll give this guy. About a 7. A 7 because of the weird hips and the weird knees there, really, and the less than stellar clearance in car mode. So we have a 10 for paint apps, we have a 7 for posability, playability. It might be an 8. If your hips are good, it might be an 8. If your knees lock in better, it might be a little bit, you know, might be a little bit higher than a 7. Then we have this melee weapon. It's a blade sword thing. But what I do like is that there's a handle here so that it can be used as a gun. And there's even, I guess, like a little spot up here that could be the barrel of the gun. So actually I like this melee weapon. I think it's pretty good. Hand foot piece, you know, there's the gun version of the hand foot piece. There's the foot version. And again, we go down, and there's basically your hand once you flip out the fingers. This hand foot piece is a little bit peculiar because it's 2 shades of purple. This whole chunk up here is a darker shade of purple than this piece here. I don't know why that was. It looks kind of weird. It's almost like this was painted plastic and this was actually purple molded plastic. So I don't really know what happened there, but anyway, it is what it is. Putting this guy in arm mode, well, you basically unpeg the chest, and you need to take the shoulders down a little bit because the shoulders lock in, and then you flip this basically all the way back like so. You can fold up the arms, and you know, I would push the shoulders up. I think you're supposed to put them down. I would push them up largely because it just gives you a little more clearance for the elbow. You flip out the combiner port. You can close down the hips so that the bottoms of the legs peg together, or they should peg together. Let me and they don't want to peg together for me. Basically what you're doing is there's pegs, there's a peg and a hole in on this knee, there's a peg and a hole in on this knee, and that's what you're trying to line up to get together. And doing it on camera is a little trickier than doing it, you know, when you can have the figure nice and close to you. I will say this, the tolerances on this guy, super duper tight. I should also say, besides for in on the knees having to peg together, there's a beigey peg up here that goes into a slot over here. I'll give him credit, he connects together at a bunch of points. It's just lining him up, excuse me, can be less than perfect sometimes. Okay, and boom, there you go. There's arm mode, and you know, again, he bends well like all the other arms. You know, he swivels. There's the combiner port right there. Um, I have to be honest, I've never, ever, ever before put him in arm mode. He's not an arm, he's a leg. And I'm a stickler for, I guess, the official layout. I guess I put his hand the wrong way based on the combiner peg. There we go. He holds together though great as an arm. The tricky part is getting these two pieces to peg together because they connect back here, kind of around the spoiler. They connect up here with a like a whitish peg, and if we come under here, in the knees, they connect together. And I feel like they almost put the paint on too thick on the pegs there, or filled in the holes too much, and it's really tight to try and squeeze these legs together. Uh, Difficult for me. I'm an adult. You know, I'm an adult collector. For a kid, I think it's going to be challenging to put him in arm mode. But he does. He looks, you know, he looks great. So we will take that out. I'll split those legs apart and we'll turn them around, down. We'll take the arms and, you know, we'll open them out. We'll take the chest piece and just bring it up around. We're not going to worry about pegging it in for now because we're going to take him from basically robot mode, the way he comes in packaged, to car mode. And that starts out the same way as the last one did. You unpeg the shoulders up here because they do lock in these two slots. And you take the chest piece and you unpeg it. And with the chest piece you have two holes here on the chest and two pegs here. That's where it slots in, and then you should be able to push the top down. And when you push the top down, you're basically taking this slot in here and putting it on the top of the connection port right here on this peg. But you take this, you flip it all the way back, and when you flip it back, you now have two holes up here in the front of the chest, and they peg into two beige pegs right here. Like that. And you basically want it to look like this, where this piece is straight, the whole bottom is filled in, the head is obviously on the inside. You fold up the arms, just as we've done, you know, just as we've done before. You do split the knees, and you fold up the feet. You fold up the feet if it's not done. You fold up the, you know, if your heel spurs are still down, you fold them up because they're going to become the spoiler. Now, a lot of times people will start with putting the arms in because it's what we've done with other ones. That's not what you want to do here. You have a peg right here. I'm not even sure you can see it. There's a beige peg right here. And there's a slot basically in behind the elbow. there's a slot in right here. You want to put the legs up because this is going to slot on over it. So you take the leg and you unpeg it from the blue piece inside, and you will swivel it up, and you do the same on the other side. You unpeg it from the blue knee, that weird knee joint, and you swivel it up. And when you swivel it up, you should see that this 90-degree angle right here slots in around the roof of the car, and the same here slots in around the roof of the car. And now you have to peg those pieces back together again, and again it's tight. I'm not gonna lie, it is tight. Now you can take the arms, which you have kind of at a weird angle up here on the shoulders, and you can, you know, really work to bring those shoulders all the way down. And as you bring those shoulders all the way down, that slot that was in the arm, you now try and get in over where the leg was, just like that. That slot that was in the arm over here, as you bring it down, you put it in like that. And now your shoulders are all the way down. You can see he's looking very car modish now. You take the front piece and you bring it down flat, and the windshield goes in, and boom, there you go, car mode. And you know, he rolls well. He does. You might have a little bit of a clearance issue. I don't find it nearly as bad as Wild Rider and Dead End, and I think he looks great. It's very, you know, it's very kind of true to his animation model. It's not perfect, but I mean, you're not making any mistake. I love the creamy color used. I love the paint apps on the headlights. I love the red. I love the Decepticon symbol. The 15 racing, a lot of people have complained about that. I really don't care. Whatever. If it's there, fine. Very clean underneath. No real robot kibble. I think he looks good. As far as storage for this goes, there's a slot on his arm, and there's a little rectangular slot up here on the weapon, and it can basically peg in his arm like that. It looks silly, but it is what it is. And the hand foot piece, again, you could take it like this, and you could, you know, mount it in the slot on top. However, on the thumb, there's a little rectangular piece right there, and if you go to the back where the spoiler comes together, there's a little rectangular slot there, and the idea is that the thumb, I think it really depends on how well the spoiler goes together. The thumb can slot into the spoiler and then fold down over the top. And again, to me, that looks very Sunstreaker-ish. Another reason I said this will be Sunstreaker. But it works. It's a little, it's kind of like off-road. It's a little innovative. I don't mind it. Honestly, I really don't mind it. But we'll take that off. We can even leave this here. Next, we're going to do foot mode. And foot mode is simple. You keep him transformed in a car. You lift back the windshield and you flip this piece back. Now, a lot of people leave it up like this to have a knee spur. I fold it all the way down. I fold it all the way down because a lot of people want that G1 accuracy. They will turn him this way, and they will take the hand foot piece and they will plug it up underneath. Oh, by the way, some people leave these down in foot mode and plug the thingy, the hand foot piece in there. That's not right. This is for arm mode. It will make him too tall. So fold those up. Plug this piece in, and I mean, you could have them that way. You're losing your knee joint again, because I mean the knee bends. I guess you could have a weird knee joint out that way, but you're basically losing your knee joint. If you want G1 accuracy, hey, turn them around, do this, flip this whole piece down. Some people hate this. I don't mind it. I think it looks accurate, and he's a pretty stable leg. Truth is, I think he's a better leg than Wild Rider. Right here, I think he holds together more solid. Because again, I'm even squeezing Wild Rider together there, and honestly, I think Breakdown is really a leg that's second only to Off-Road, who is a fantastic leg. Actually, they might even be equal in terms of leg quality. Supposability, playability, like I said, it's a 7 overall because of a few nagging issues. Transformation is Transformation is a 7 as well. Why? Because of those weird hips, and these two leg pieces don't, even now you see a little bit of a gap. They don't, the tolerance is slightly off, and I mean, I had to pause this in order to put him in arm mode. Just because it pegs together so difficult. And I'll tell you now, when you're trying to transform him out, unpegging the arms and the leg is brutal. Now, it's great that he has great tight tolerances. It's going to be great for a collector. I mean, his transformation is probably an 8, 8.5. For a kid, they need a lot of strength in order to change this guy. Overall score for breakdown, we'll give him a 7.5. He looks the part, he plays the part, he's a nice limb, but in robot mode, he's not going to be your favorite figure. Anyway, I guess that kind of does it for this guy. I'm great. Fine. You don't have a problem with your confidence. I can dance. I can do gymnastics. You have weird hips breakdown, and that's the end of that story. Anyway, folks, we are going to move on with the breakout star of this set in the next video. So until then, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.